Okay, video as requested of the device fitted. This is it with the loom on. We've got the 12 volt wire going to my ignition live, which at the moment is got nothing going through it because the ignition is off. And this is my 12 volt permanent live, which goes, I've put bullet connectors on just to make it easier to disconnect and reconnect, and that goes directly to my battery via that wire there. So I'm just going to connect that one up. Okay, the unit comes on, which is what happens when you first connect it, and it starts recording. Now at the moment the ignition is off, so I'm now going to put the ignition on. So my ignition live is now active. The unit continues to record. Turn the ignition off. Ignition is now off and the unit will go to sleep, which is what it should do. But then you turn the ignition on again, the unit will come on and it will start recording again. But if we try it and turn the ignition off again, the unit will just stay on indefinitely. It does that every time. You get one on, one off, and then it stays on. Doesn't matter how long you leave it on for or how long you leave it off for. Once you've had those two turns of the ignition and the live has gone live and then back to zero and live again, with the ignition, it just stays on. The third time it will stay on permanently like that and record, and the only way to get it is to pull the actual feed wire on it. Now it's the same with the new loom. As I say, I've put bullet connectors on this one, but the new loom I had to connect it with croc clips because my fuse box doesn't actually accommodate the little fuses. It's doing exactly the same thing with the new loom, and as you can see, the battery light on the corner there is always flashing, no matter how long you have the ignition on for, or the bike running, or it's left on the bike connected. It's always flashing, which tells me there's either something wrong with the internal battery or it's not charging for some reason. That could be a cause of it. Maybe it's staying on to try and charge and it's not doing. And if you connect the app says the same thing. You get a red battery symbol in the corner of the screen on the connected app, again, which suggests there's something wrong with it. But that will now stay on with the ignition off until I disconnect the feed. And if I reconnect it again, it will do exactly the same thing. You'll get two goes at the ignition on and off, and the third time it will just stay on indefinitely. And obviously that's flattening my battery, so the first time I realised it'd done this is when I had a flat battery. Obviously no good, because overnight this thing's staying on and it's carrying on recording. So as I say, I think it's the actual unit itself, and not the loom. And as you can see, I've fitted the loom. It's fitted to the bike, so I don't really want to disconnect the loom. It just really just needs the unit replacing and then connecting up. I can't see there being anything else wrong with it because the cameras work. It's recording well. I've seen the footage from it. Everything else works. But the two wiring looms that I've now tried, the one you've just sent and the one that came with it originally, as I say, they do exactly the same thing. So as I say, I think it's the unit.